Just that jumpin', yeah. Just that jumpin', start like 23. Just that jumpin', 2-4 like Kobe. Just that jumpin', shoot my shot, then beat. Just that jumpin', right around all of my trees. Just that jumpin', start like 23. Just that jumpin', 2-4 like Kobe. Just that jumpin', shoot my shot, then beat. Just that jumpin', right around all of my dreams. I be ballin' in music like Kobe. I'm the greatest to ever do it, they don't know it.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the rebirth, the relaunch of Turtles Take. It's been a long time. Had a lot of things kind of pop up every time we wanted to get this show going again. But hey, look it, we're back. Turtle, how you been, my man?
Man, I'm good. Just living in the cookie world. About time to do a show and talk some sports and just have a good time.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We got a pretty loaded show today. We got some indoor football talk we're gonna get, and then we always touch on the Bears. So looks like our first guest is in the green room right now. Turtle, I don't know if you want to tell people a little bit about Jesse, and then I'll bring him on.
Yeah, so Jesse is the Chief Marketing Officer of the American Indoor Football. For Turtles Take viewers that have been with us since day one, we had Larry Clark and some of those guys on before pre-COVID, and they were getting ready to launch, and COVID kind of shut everything down and delayed some things, but they're back for 2024, and excited to get them on and kind of talk about it.
Yeah, on that note, man, we'll bring Jesse in. Jesse, how you doing tonight?
Hey, gentlemen, how are you? I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for jumping on with us. So, Turtle, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about your love for indoor football, and then let's just jump right into the conversation.
Yeah, so when my Chicago Blitz days, we were actually in the AIF and played there a couple years. Played for a championship, which we unfortunately lost. It's still sore subject to my heart, but it was always a well-run league. Big thing with the indoor world is some of the leagues are legit, and some of them, they just tend to not be so professional. But the AIF, no matter who you talk to, whether they've been there, still there, want to be there, they all say that the AIF is one of the strongest and best leagues around. So.
No, we appreciate it. My name is Jesse Heninger. I am the Director of Marketing, the Chief Marketing Officer for the AIF, the American Indoor Football. What makes the AIF different is there's a lot of experience. Founded in 2005, a lot of the folks that work for the league know exactly how arena football can succeed, indoor football can succeed. Myself, I've worked for a variety of leagues. I've worked for the Indoor Football League most recently, and I've also worked for the NFL sports agency, which I co-founded with a partner. So, there's a lot of folks in our group that have a lot of experience for all these teams. There's 7 teams in our market currently. So, we look forward to expand in all these things, but we certainly take all that seriously. I absolutely understand how confusing it can be. There's a lot of talk this year with the AFL coming back, and obviously with the all the different leagues, including the National Arena League, the Indoor Football League, and of course, our league, the AIF, so American Indoor Football. So we look forward to relaunching again, and excited for all of our teams. And thanks for being on the show again. It's been great. It's been a long overdue. So thanks for having us back.
Yeah, absolutely. We love football here of all kinds. For our viewers who aren't familiar with indoor football, why don't you go over the biggest differences between indoor football versus what they see on Sundays?
Sure. No, absolutely. I think the biggest difference is that it's indoor. I think the other biggest difference is how close you are to the action. So we're thinking that so this is 50 yards. So this 50 yards versus 100. It's indoor. It's in a legitimate hockey stadiums, traditional indoor stadiums. They don't always have to have hockey, but we're dealing with 50 yards versus 100. Also, there are no out of bounds, so there are walls with pads, and it's rather exciting. It's a shorter game, 15-minute quarters, but they go rather quickly. There's a 1-minute warning, not a 2-minute warning. You can get points in a variety of different ways. Our league actually founded the deuce, which is obviously if you kick, well, not obviously, for some of these, if you kick the ball, if the kicker kicks the ball through the uprights on a kickoff, there's 2 points. So there's a variety of ways that the home team can get points. And again, it's indoor versus outdoor. So and the hits are incredible. If anybody has never been to an indoor football game, they're going 100 miles an hour, and it's very quick. 50 versus 100, everything's happening that much quicker.
Yeah, well, they say around indoor football, the wall is undefeated.
Right. Right. No, and we've all learned that. Well, I haven't learned that, but I've worked with a variety of teams, and I've seen some nasty injuries. But it is a very family-friendly sport. I mean, there's a ton of things going on. I mean, at halftime, we're talking about wing eating contest. Traditionally, a lot of, obviously there's cheerleaders for every team. Before the game, you'll probably see the local car dealership with all their cars around and motorcycles. I mean, it's quite the local event. It's great. I mean, this type of sport relishes the opportunity. It really traditionally does well in minor league baseball towns. In the South, it does well. In the Midwest, it does well. Obviously, there's a lot of traditional teams that have made notoriety over the years, the Iowa Barnstormers, the Arizona Rattlers. I came from the Massachusetts Pirates in the IFL. A lot of great teams, a lot of great brands. And in American indoor football, it's a brand looking to come back. It's looking to actually rebrand itself in such a great way where there's a lot of opportunities for growth in new areas. A lot of the AFL and the indoor, everybody is picking a zone. Our league traditionally is all over America. Right now, we're in Texas, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and a lot of these other areas. We have 7 teams this year, and we're looking to expand potentially up to 12 to 15 next year, at least 9. The teams that we have right now, I know you guys have limited time, and I'd love to give these teams an individual spotlight. The current teams in the AIF in the markets that we are in, we're in Amarillo, which is a very traditional and classic team, the Amarillo Venom. The Cedar Rapids River Kings, another team that has a lot of history in indoor football. Columbus Lions, another National Arena League team, and before that, just a historic traditional team that's been around for over 16 years. Corpus Christi Tritons in Corpus Christi, Texas, a brand new team this year. Very exciting franchise, very quality franchise. The Flint River Gators out of Albany, Georgia. Great guys, great ownership, very solid. All of these ownerships, you'll hear me saying, in indoor football, you really need a quality base to be able to sustain over the years in minor leagues in these smaller markets. And that is the goal of American indoor football, is to bring in certain individuals, ownerships, and teams that are going to withstand over the years. We're not here overnight, and minor league sports is an individual battle. It's a constant battle to keep the attention of the public. Indoor football is a minor league sport, and we go in comparison, our competitors are movie night and are a bunch of other things for the family. So the tickets are affordable, and they're on Saturdays. The games are on Saturdays and Sundays, some Mondays, but they're on the weekend. So we look forward to everybody, and not to finish. The rest of our teams are the Harrisburg Stampede and the Mississippi Raiders. So 7 franchises this year. Super excited, lots to talk about.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's cool, to hear, see a league that's going to come back, but come back with established teams instead of, not that there's anything wrong with expansion teams, but some of the teams that you guys have are very solid, very stable organizations that have been very impactful in the indoor football world. So when does the season get kicked off?
The season kicks off, I think we're March 16th, looking at March 16th, and then we go on from there. We have a 10-game season. We have an 8-game season. And we have we have obviously a 2-game format for playoffs, and we have a championship. So, looking forward to starting in March. Preseason starts in February. The guys will get there about February 1st, and for all the teams across the country, all the athletes will come in. They'll be housed by every individual team. They'll be taken care of and they'll be fed. They'll be paid on game days. It's professional football. These guys get training, cryo, chiropractic. I mean, you got it. I mean, you guys know, you guys are arena football fans around the country. This is all changed. Arena football used to be tape them up. Depending on the league, but
no, absolutely.
Everybody's getting pampered anymore, and I wish I could be a player anymore with all the trade deals they get. So,
yeah, definitely. So we had one of our watchers, Alex. He asked if it was Columbus, Ohio. Just so that's Columbus, Georgia for the Lions.
Yes, Columbus, Georgia. Yes, Columbus, Georgia for the Lions. Also, we have Albany in there, and and we never know with the AIF. We're looking to expand. We'll be in the that area soon. We're in the Midwest, and the goal is to create franchises that withstand. All arena football fans are frustrated when a team comes into their community and then all of a sudden leaves. I've been part of teams that have been fabulous, won championships, and have left, unfortunately have had to, whether it was COVID or various reasons, leave the community. And I know fans want the teams to stay. And that's the goal of, I think, any league. But with the AIF coming back, again, been around since 2005. A lot of franchises have been through the AIF. And the goal is to contain the teams and really, make sure that they find a home here. And we can provide a lot of value for them moving forward.
Awesome. So if people that are wanting to learn more about the AIF or just getting involved or follow it along as the season gets closer, where can they find AIF?
Absolutely. I would say, if this was 10 years ago, I would say find us on a website. We still have a website, of course. It's actually great. AIF-proindoorfootball.com. That's AIF-proindoorfootball.com. But traditionally, I would say now Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're obviously posting daily as the season gets closer. We'll be posting even more. And if there's any questions, I think we even have we still have an email. No, I'm just kidding. info@pro-indoorfootball.com. AIF-proindoorfootball.com, AIF-proindoorfootball.com. But social media is huge. A lot of our fans are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We talk with fans all the time. The biggest part of the off season, it's so long, is talking football. This off season has been very interesting with the juxtaposition of all of the leagues and all of the news. It's been being part of a league. It's been very interesting. The talks behind the scenes are very interesting. For all the indoor football fans, the AIF will be something to look at. A lot of competition. My past. Recently, I worked for an NFL sports agency. There's a lot of talent in the AIF. There's a lot of SEC, Big Ten. There's a lot of talent and the biggest difference, one of the biggest questions you asked me when we first started, what's the difference between indoor and outdoor? And I think the biggest difference is when you're sitting front row and it's 3rd and 10 and you can smack that receiver on the helmet when you're sitting front row. and you have a beer in your hands or whatever the heck is going on, or your kids there and your wife's there, and everybody's cheering. It's insane. I mean, we've all been to an NFL game. A college game is even crazier. But if you haven't been in an indoor football game and you love football, you're 2 feet from the action, or at times they're in your lap as they're catching a ball. So I've been addicted to the sport since I started. I started in 2016. I've ran 3 franchises. I've been a marketing director of operations, and it's just been a blast. Honestly, I've been addicted to the sport since I started, and it's been just a fan frenzy of love everywhere you go. But not every city has arena football. Not every city has indoor football. It's a unique situation. If you can catch it in the moment, the goal of our league is to be able to create these organizations and have them available to fans year after year without being able to catch lightning in a bottle. That's the AIF, and that's what we're trying to do.
Awesome, man. Jesse, thank you so much for coming on and kind of just talking a little bit about the AIF. We're super excited, and we'll have to have you or somebody else from the league on once we get closer to the season.
Would love to. Thank you guys for having us. Very much so. Thank you very much.
Have a great night. Well, so that was Jesse. Oh, look, we got Mike here. So for all you Turtles Take viewers, we're kind of rushing things along here. We had some technical difficulties in the beginning, so now we're just trying to catch up. But Mike here is coming on. He's going to be doing a show. Not sure what the name of it's going to be or exactly when it's going to start, but it'll be sooner rather than later. But Mike is Mike, what would you call it that you do?
The official name is Sports Betting Capper. So just capping sports, regarding sports betting.
Yeah. So, I know Mike a long time, and we were talking about, I was like, man, I'm trying to make this bet, and he was giving me all this information. And, I didn't realize so much goes into, like, when I make a bet, I just get on FanDuel or whatever, and I'm like, oh man, this dude's good, that dude's good. I'm betting this parlay. I think this is the way to go. And there's so much more to it. So, Mike, why don't you give a little, you don't have to go super in depth, but a little bit about your website and what you do and all those things.
Yeah, so I actually run the sports betting. It's on a Discord. Discord isn't very known to a lot of people. It's getting a little bit bigger, I feel, each year. So we have about 1,300 members on there now, where essentially, I have my own team, and we put each of us, we have guys who specialize in soccer, football, hockey, golf, NASCAR. Usually have guys that cover each sport, and essentially all you do is you go and turn a notification on who you'd like to see when they post their plays, and anytime that guy posts, you'll get a ding notification on your phone showing you their bet slip, what they would recommend you betting it at. And then, that way it's up to the viewers and members if they want to tail it or not.
Hey, that's cool. Like I said, I had no idea there was so much that goes into betting. It's probably why I lose all the time, because I just go on and I'm like, oh, that makes sense. So we have one of our viewers. He asked, what's your highest win you've ever had? And what was the side up? Ace is back.
Hey. So, technical difficulties. What can you do?
Yeah. Mike's just.
Let's just hope it doesn't happen again.
Right.
Anyways, sorry, but I missed the entire last interview and just interrupted you guys now. So continue your guys' conversation.
It's okay. Mike was just going to tell us what his highest win he's had and what site it was on.
Yeah, so I've had a couple odds that were in golf last year on FanDuel where I hit about, it was a plus 2,500. For those who don't understand what that means, essentially you can bet $10, and if it hits, it win $25, or I'm sorry, $250. I bet 40 on it, won $1,000. That's definitely not my biggest. My biggest win came in DFS, which is Daily Fantasy Sports, where you can draft your lineup on FanDuel. That was in the NBA last year. and I came in first place out of, I believe it was 23,000. My payout was 20 grand per lineup that I put in.
Holy shit!
Yeah, this is the guy I need to talk to.
Hold on,
You should
I
see
don't.
some of my outrageous bets, man.
I
They're
don't know what
terrible.
I'm more taken aback by, the fact that you won $20,000 on a bet, or the fact that you spent $40 betting on golf.
That's ballsy too. Yeah, golf.
I
I
didn't
never
even
thought
know you
about
could
betting
bet
golf.
So yeah,
Did you say
actually,
NASCAR? People bet NASCAR?
oh, I bet NASCAR religiously. Yeah,
Love it.
I'm actually more well known for my NASCAR and my golf. And the thing is, with FanDuel will put out sweat-free bets. So, like for example, the golf one I did, it was a sweat-free. So, you can bet up to, I think it was like $50, and even if it loses, they give it back to you. It's a sweat-free bet. They give it back to you in FanDuel credits. So it was like a plus 2,500. It was the Masters. I felt really good about. I'm sorry, it wasn't the Masters. I forget which tournament it was, but it was a long shot guy I liked. So I put $40 on him, and I said might as well go big with it, and ended up working out. But yeah, I mean, golf is definitely tricky because you can have like the right read, and you can have a guy in first place by like 3 strokes, and then he can go out of bounds in the penalty and lose it in one hole. He can lose a big lead. So it's definitely tough. But I actually just bet, nothing big or crazy, but I actually just had a golf bet today where I predicted each guy to win their matchup. Bet $50, won 175. So it was a small bet, but I do pretty decent in it.
I didn't even know there was golf.
A win's
today.
a win in the betting world, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and honestly, a lot of people do it to the way you say. Like they go on their phones and they say, "Oh yeah, he got 25 yards a lot lately. Let me put him for 25, or let me put him for 40." With what I do is I dig so much into it. I will look at and see what each team ranks against, like a pass or a run, who struggles there, who has a good matchup where maybe they're getting the yards and now they're facing a weaker defense and passing or rushing. I'll look and see who's out, who's questionable. I put hours of research into my plays before I post them. So there's so much that goes into it, and it is a lot of work. It's time consuming, but if you do your due diligence, in the end, it's still betting, so you're taking a chance on it. But the read will always at least be there, whether stuff happens, who knows? But the read will always be there.
Yeah, I thought
Hell yeah.
I thought one of the most interesting things was when we were talking the one day about it, and you were, "Oh, this bet was $50 bet to win 100," and I was like, "Well, that's stupid. Why am I going to waste my time winning $50?" And then you're like, "Well, but I make this big bet over here for a $50 bet, but this one is I'm pretty much guaranteeing it's going to hit, and I'm covering what I'm betting on the other one, so I can't lose." And I was like, "Dang, that's smart." I didn't do that, and I wound up losing. So
Yeah, that is one of the biggest things that I stress a lot to members is managing your bankroll is super important. So parlays are fun and you see the payouts and they look nice and you want to do them, but if that's all you're doing, there's a good chance you're gonna go broke real quick. So like for example, it could be like today I'm gonna put $50 on this parlay, hope I hit big on it, but I'm also gonna do this side bet where I'm gonna put like Mahomes to throw for 200 and Pollard to rush for 25. Just really like easy chalk plays that we call them that you think that should hit, and it'll be like a plus 100 play. So you'll bet 50, profit 50, your payout will be 100. But it doesn't sound like a lot, but like it's like if you hit your big parlay, then and you hit that, I mean you just doubled up your winnings. But if you lose your parlay, as long as you do that, it's like you kind of had the fun of the sports betting, had a chance to win big, but in the end didn't lose any money out of it. So
Mike, let me tell you this. As a guy who really enjoys making parlay bets, that information you just gave me is something I am actively going to put into practice starting this Sunday, because I've lost so many parlays on one leg at the very end, especially when you're going with the Bears. These guys just seem to kick me in the nuts every chance they get, but that's such a smart idea to make sure that I'm, at least breaking even essentially.
Yeah, and what's good is like a lot of the sites will allow you to do alt parlays. So like say like for example, I will start looking at guys that I like a lot overall. Like I'll tell you one play that I looked that one play that I did kind of look into for Sunday's games is like for example Bijan Robinson. He's playing a Jets defense that's allowing 183 rushing yards per game. Desmond Ritter's, let's be honest, he's not very good. So he's not going to try to throw downfield against this Jets secondary. It looks like the Falcons were trying to rest Bijan Robinson in the beginning of the year and now trying to save his legs for this playoff push. He's gone over 100 total scrimmage yards the last 2 games. I think his over-under for total scrimmage yards is 83.5. His over rushing, I think, is 59.5. So, like, something like that, I'm like, I love Bijan. I like him to go over his total scrimmage. I like him to go over his rushing. I even like him to score a touchdown this Sunday. So, that's something that, like, if I like him for 60 rushing yards, then I'm definitely going to alt it to 40 yards and put alt 40 in my parlay. And then, you can find, stuff like that. Then you find another line that you like and you put that in. Maybe you find a team that you feel really, really, really confident that's going to win. And a trick I'll do is a lot of people will take a team that they think should easily win. For example, the Cowboys should easily win tonight versus the Seahawks. So a lot of people are saying Cowboys money line. And I say, let's be real. If the Cowboys win, they're probably going to win by at least a field goal. So let me alt the spread to -2.5 for the Cowboys. You're going to get a little bit better odds with it, and it will boost your odds on that parlay a little bit for you too.
Hell yeah, man. So I know we were talking about having you jump on, join USN and doing your own gambling show, and I'm super excited to have that avenue for our fans. It's something that, we have been wanting. Turtle and Tarbill and I have all been talking about wanting to have on, is a guy that knows his stuff and knows how to help people make money, even if it's not a whole lot of money. Making money's making money, you know what I mean? And I'm excited to have you jump on and join us.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate the opportunity. I like Vince said to start out the show, I've been good friends with Vince for I can't even tell you how many years now, and he's done a lot of good things, and I respect the work that he puts into every single thing he does. So I know when I join anything that has Vince related, it's going to be top notch. So I'm really excited for the opportunity.
Hell yeah, man. We we're looking to continue to grow and continue to push this USN thing, and having extra faces, more content is always a plus for any network that's looking to grow. And sports gambling right now, I mean, there's not a bigger market at a time where, it's legal in so many different places, and it's going to be awesome to have somebody on with that type of insight, with that type of ability to break it down as simple and as easy as you just did. Because a lot of these other gambling shows you listen to, they just rattle off all these numbers and this and that, and everyone's like, oh, what does that even mean? So it'll be cool to have somebody that can, just dive in, break it down for people who are new at it, help them make a little bit of money here and there, or a lot of money, and I'm excited to have that on this brand.
Yeah, I'm definitely stoked. I'm excited. I really appreciate this opportunity by all of you. So yeah, I feel the same way you do, man. I appreciate the positive feedback and the kind words, and yeah, I can't wait to get started.
What's your favorite sport? I mean, I'm guessing it's football, right, to bet on?
Yeah. NFL is definitely my favorite to bet on. Like I said, I know Vince said that he didn't know there was even like ways you can like bet with golf. Like there's actually, it's called 2-ball and 3-ball matchups. Essentially what that is the pairings for golf that next day. So if it's a 3-some, it's 3 balls. If it's a 2-some, then it's just a 2-ball matchup. And you just bet who you think's going to have a better round that round. So I'll do parlays on that, and I've done pretty good on that. I've done pretty good on NASCAR, but NASCAR is really tough because I can't tell you how many times I've had a guy lead 175 laps on a 200 lap race just to get hit from behind and spun around, and it's like you're dead on, and just there it goes. Um, but yeah, so a lot of people will follow me for those specific sports, and NFL. Those probably are the top three the most. NFL by far is my favorite, though.
Hell yeah,
Sweet,
man. NFL is my favorite thing to bet on. I like to dabble with basketball from time to time. Usually it's pretty simple, over points and rebounds type of stuff for like the star players. I got a buddy who does like daily, like that DraftKings daily lineups for basketball, and he has a good time with that. But yeah, I'm always up for any opportunity to throw some money in my pocket.
Yeah, the DFS is that's what you're kind of talking about. I actually posted an NBA lineup tonight to my Discord too, so I play those. I also will play like the showdowns, which is a single game matchups for football. Usually only the showdowns for, but those can be tricky. The only time that those kind of hurt you is you can especially when you get the injuries like early in the game, it's like kind of like your whole lineup is kind of shot at that point. But they're definitely fun. I like doing them, and I do NBA bets. I do NHL bets as well. I'm just a sports fanatic, so I just kind of put in my research. Pretty much everything. I have NBA, NHL, MLB during baseball season. I mean, like you name it, I pretty much cover it. The only one I don't really religiously do is stuff like tennis and soccer. But on my Discord, we have guys who do post about tennis and soccer. So, if that's something you're interested in, we have that there too.
Yeah, I mean, you just kind of answered this question. Jumping out with us, what kind of sports you can be talking about? It sounds like you're just going to try to hit all fields.
Yeah, I kind of look, and so in the morning I'll look at the slate. Yeah, I'll look at the NBA slate, the NHL slate. I'll just kind of see like if there's any what the slate looks like, if there's good matchups, something I feel confident I can dive into, to see is there something I can expose. Is there a good matchup on a player I like? I think it just depends on each day, just what that slate looks like and what those matchups look like. Because if you said you bet an NBA, you might have seen this a lot lately, or a lot in general, is when your plays can be ruined because a team's up by 25 points in the third quarter, and you just like they take the starters out and you're kind of done at that point. So, you want to just kind of stay away from the bad matchups. So it just depends on the slate that day.
Hell yeah, man. Again, I'm really excited to bring you on. I appreciate you jumping on with Turtle and I. And why don't you let everybody know where they can start following you? That way they can get familiar with you. And then when you jump on with us, they can just follow you right along with us.
Yeah, definitely. So it's actually it's a link through the Discord. What I can do is I can copy the link, and I don't know if you want me to send it to you or either one of you. Don't matter. If you want to post it to the page, I can do that. But it's a link that I'll have to get from the Discord, and the link's usually good for 7 days. I'm working on so Discord, you level up. Once I get to the next level, I can customize my link so it'll always stay the same. But
Sure.
Essentially, I can just send you a link and you click it and you're in. So
awesome. Yeah, send it to me or Turtle, and then we can throw it right up on the Facebook page, and people can jump on there. I can probably add it to the YouTube also in the description of the video, and then it'll be on there as well, so we can get people jumping on with you and then following you right over to here.
Perfect, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so we appreciate you jumping on, Mike. We'll definitely stay in touch. I'm hoping to, we have our Out of High Bear Nation show that's on usually before the Bears games. We could even have you jump on those to help us pick a simple parlay for the Bears. But we will definitely stay in touch, and I'm glad to have you jump on as part of USN.
Appreciate it, man. I'm excited. Can't wait to get started.
Hell yeah, we'll talk to you soon.
Can't wait to get rich.
That's right. Get rich.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Thanks. All right. Well, so if you're wondering why my live handsome face isn't up there, it's because it seems to be running a lot slower when I have my camera on. So I'm just going to run. You hear my voice. I'm kind of like an actual radio personality at this point. But yeah, I'm here, Turtle. Don't think I'm not. But now, we talked indoor football. We talked making money. And now we get to jump on my favorite topic to talk about. The one that just seems to generate all the controversy and nobody ever agrees on any topic when it comes to the Bears. Right now, the big topic is, the draft is on its way and the Bears are sitting pretty with 2 top 5 picks at the moment. And what are they going to do? They just won against, Jesus Christ, who did they play? The Vikings. Josh Dobbs. That was if you watch that game, I'm so sorry for you because
I started Josh Dobbs in my fantasy league.
That's so unfortunate for you.
I had Mahomes and Kirk Cousins, and Cousins had to go and get hurt. And now I've been playing Josh Dobbs and all these fools, and it's just obviously it hasn't gone well.
Well, the one league that we're in fantasy,
that's one. Your fault.
I've never.
You sent me that trade, and I can't give you Kirk Cousins. And later that day, he tears his Achilles.
You're right. That was that day. I was like, yeah, man, just give me Kirk Cousins. I need a quarterback because, all right. So I've never played in a 2-quarterback league before. So me not understanding just exactly how valuable a 2-quarterback system is, like an idiot, which I should have.
Into in the draft.
Yeah, I go and I pick Justin Jefferson as my first pick, and everybody else just snipes up all the quarterbacks, and I'm over here like, is Cam Newton playing for anybody right now? Like, it was terrible.
Yeah, that I don't know how to boycott my own league, but that's basically where I'm at.
I mean, my other league's going really well. I only lost 2 games in that one, so I'm sitting pretty over there. But anyways, back to, the Bears, right? That's what most of these shows, especially during football season, are going to entail. We got Lester jumping on here pretty soon. So the Bears can't even win any type of game in an exciting fashion. They can lose in stellar fashion. They just can't win in stellar fashion. It seems to be they either set a record for craziest ways to lose a game or set a record for the worst way to win a game. There's a lot of talk, they're going into this offseason, and I don't want to jump into like too much detail because I have a lot of questions for Lester when he jumps on with us, but what are your thoughts overall so far on this Bears team and kind of where they're trending?
Oh, man.
I know that's kind of a loaded question. That's like a 3-hour conversation.
Well, it's one of those things that I feel like every time, to quote the late, great Denny Green, every time they are who we thought they were, every time I think we figured out who this Bears team is, they just smack us in the face with winning a game without scoring a touchdown or, finding a way to blow the lead against Detroit. And I mean, at this point, and it's hard too, because, everybody, we're all sports guys. And so a lot of people I come in contact with, my boss is always like, oh, what do you think about the Bears? What do you want? I'm always like, I want them to play good, but lose. Like I want them to look like a professional football team.
And then you want the coach to screw it up.
Correct. But I want the coach to screw it up because at this point I'm over Eberflus as a coach.
Eberflus? Lose?
Yeah,
I saw there was a sign at Survivor Series in the crowd that said fire Eberflus.
I told my wife, I was like, see, even the wrestling fans understand what it's about.
Yeah, it's been a wreck.
I want to see Justin Fields look good. I want to see him play really, really good. But I hope they lose because I want a better draft pick. Like, that's where we're at this point in the year. What's the point of going on a 4-5 game winning streak and then be like, oh, you know what? I think I saw enough to give
all that is going to do is lead to them being like, maybe we
he
should bring
deserves
this
1 more
coach
year.
back. Yeah, why? It makes no sense at all. Listen, one, I think the offensive coordinator is trash.
You gotta go too. Like, I
Yeah.
would've fired him already.
Like, if they were
Right.
really considering bringing Eberflus back, I would definitely need them to bring in somebody who is more competent in play calling, because the last two guys, the screen pass, I tell you, it has become a staple for the Chicago Bears. They used to be a run heavy team. Now it's just, hey, as long as we can throw the ball sideways, that's exactly what we're going to do.
Yeah.
There was at one point in the game on Sunday, I believe, where I read a stat that there was more passes or more yards after catch than there were actual yards thrown forward.
Yeah, so I forget what I was doing at the beginning of the game. We were doing something. Oh, it was Monday, right? They played on Monday?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was at work. So when I got home from work, it's exactly what it was. We had our Cyber Monday sale at Crumble, so I worked 12 to 8 that day. So by the time I got home from work, the game had already started, and I see DJ Moore catch a ball, and it comes up his stats, and I'm like, he had like 100 something. I think he had 125 yards at the time, and 78 of them or 80 of them were after the catch. I'm like, no, I turned to my wife. I'm like, that has to be a typo.
It wasn't.
And she was like, well, maybe it's not. I'm like, how could he have 80 yards after the catch? And then all the video of all the screen passes. And I was like, oh, no wonder he has 80 yards after the catch.
Yeah, it's like they were going for like a record for number of screen passes thrown in a game. The Bears are literally the most unfun team to watch play football that I've ever watched. And it's frustrating because we had such a good week of football. Thanksgiving was good games. Yeah, the Cowboys did what they've been doing and just blew the brakes off of who they even play? Panthers? No. I don't even remember. But whoever they played, they blew the brakes off them. And then you had some solid Sunday slate, and then you get to Monday night to cap it off with a terrible Bears team. And the worst part is I actually thought this game was going to be like a good, fun game to watch. The Vikings play pretty well. You know, Josh Dobbs hasn't been terrible.
Right.
And the Bears put up some solid play against the Lions. And, well, you know, hey, what was I thinking, right?
Yeah, I mean, everything going into it, it had everything leading to. Oh, they beat the Commanders. Sorry,
Commanders. That's
where
right.
I was looking that up. Yeah, I mean, Josh Dobbs been playing better. He had those miracle comebacks, all the different things, and then it just was like the worst football game to watch in the history of football. Like I almost think I would have rather watched Denver get 70 put on them than I would like to see the Bears win. You know, it's one of those things, and it doesn't make any sense. Like, every time that they should be aggressive, they don't. And then, like, I feel like they're telling you, well, yeah, but we let Justin throw the ball 35 times. Yeah, but 28 of them were behind the line of scrimmage.
Right.
Like,
Right. It makes no sense, man. And, like, this year, the whole point was to see what Justin Fields can do. And, like, the beginning of the year started off terrible, right? He just looked awful. It was so out of sync. I just think with the way that they're kind of going, what is the worst thing that can happen if you let Justin Fields just kind of sling it? They lose. Okay, good.
Right. It betters your draft pick at this point.
Right. What they're going to end up doing is putting themselves in a situation where they're going to win 6-7 games, get out of the top 5 with their own pick.
Yeah.
And then they're going to have to take a quarterback, I would think. And that's a conversation I want to have with Lester is
I don't think they're taking a quarterback.
I don't think they should. Now this is my opinion on that. I think
For your opinion, did you see how excited Ryan Poles was?
yeah, man, he lifted Justin Fields up and hung him like at a Hallmark commercial.
Right.
You know, like
Like,
every
would've
kiss
thought
begins with
4 touchdowns and 335 yards.
yeah, for a team that won by 2 points with no touchdown, they celebrated way too hard for me to enjoy.
Right.
It was insane.
I'm sorry, but you were gonna say your opinion about.
Yeah, so I mean, my opinion on this draft is you have control of Justin Fields for theoretically 2 more years, right? Next year and then the 5th-year option.
Yep.
I don't think it's just the quarterback that's the problem. You can go and get a guy like Caleb Williams, who I really don't want them to draft. I think dude has I think he has the same negatives as Justin Fields has. Holds the ball too long.
Bad attitude.
And he's got a shitty attitude, whereas Justin is at least humble and he's the leader of that locker room. I think you would do more damage getting rid of Justin Fields than you would by keeping him at this point.
I just think at this point, drafting another quarterback, you're like taking one of the bullets away from your gun. Like, you have these 2 draft picks, and you could really rebuild the team with 2 top 5 draft picks. But if you draft a quarterback, it's not like whoever you draft is going to come out here and be balls out, beating the world beaters their first year. Right. No rookie quarterback ever is that. Peyton Manning had 30 interceptions his rookie year. Rookie quarterbacks don't come into the league and dominate. So now you're setting the franchise back with that. But secondly, fill 2 holes that you need. So I talked about this a few weeks ago. I think it was on the Hibernation show. I'm not ready to say Justin's the guy, but I'm willing to say that you can win with him. At the very worst, Justin Fields is a quarterback that you can win with. I don't know if he'll ever turn into be the guy that wins you the football game because of him.
Right. Yeah, we talked about this on the Out of Hibernation.
I don't know that he's ever going to be that guy, but I feel like his floor is a guy that you can win with. So if you go build, let's just say you get Marvin Harrison Jr. and Fashanu, the left tackle.
Yeah.
You're now, the line isn't that far off. So now if you get a core left tackle that you could have as a franchise left tackle, protecting Justin, giving him time, all that's going to do is make Justin's job better, make him play better, make his job easier. You go get a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr., who a lot of people who know a lot more about football or have forgotten a lot more about football than I'll ever know are telling you that the worst this kid is going to be is Jamar Chase. If that's the worst he's going to be, and you put him in an offense with DJ Moore and now Cole Kmet, which please remind me if I forget to ask Lester, unless I'm missing something, I don't understand who some of these dudes are that are putting out mock drafts that say the Bears are going to take Brock Bowers, the tight end from Georgia.
You just extended Kmet this offseason.
And he's playing the best football he's ever played in his life.
Right.
And you're saying, well, maybe we're going to take a tight end. If Ryan Poles took a tight end in the top 5, they will burn down Hallis Hall.
You have to. It's the same. So, realistically, there are so many holes on this team still. You're going to have to look at a safety. Eddie Jackson just ain't it, right? You need to get yourself somebody who is a bona fide stud edge rush. That I know they brought Sweat on, but you need a guy that's a number 1. I think Sweat is a good number 2 to a great number 2, but you need that guy, that Nick Bosa, that Joey Bosa, that TJ Watt guy that just when it's 3rd and 4
have to game plan to stop him guy.
Right. That's what they need. They need to get themselves a center, an actual center, not a guy that they drafted a left guard, right guard, and they're like, oh, hey, well, he played a little center in college, so we're going to convert him to a center like they've done with all these guys. You give Justin, if you bring Marvin Harrison Jr. onto this team, you automatically increase your offensive productivity so much more, right? Darnell Mooney has been just a non-factor this year. And oh, awesome. Les just jumped in. So we'll stop the conversation here. We're going to bring him on and we'll just have this whole thing. Lester, my man, how you doing tonight?
What's up, fellas?
Oh, we were just talking Bears, something that gets everybody on the same page all the time in the city of Chicago. Everybody agrees on everything. The conversation we were just having was the draft, right? That seems to be the hot topic with them having 2 top 5 picks. Fields' inconsistent play. Turtle and I were just discussing what they should really consider doing not as just a fan, but like if we put ourselves in that general manager spot, I'm personally one that thinks the best thing for them to do is to ride with Justin for the next 2 years because you have him under your control and utilize those picks to, get an edge rush, get yourself Marvin Harrison Jr., trade to get more picks. I'm really curious to see, what you've heard, what your thoughts are on that whole, keeping Justin or moving on from Justin.
I mean, if it was me, I think I'm leaning towards I would like to see them keep Justin Fields, but that would require a new offensive scheme, a new offensive play caller. There's just too much of a disconnect there with what's going on with Luke Getsy. But I can't see any situation where the Bears, if they're going to keep Flus, if they're going to keep the whole show, they'll probably keep Fields. If they're going to move on, they're probably going to move on. I just believe that they're probably going to move on from Fields. I think he's going to go somewhere, and I think he's going to be good somewhere else. I just think once he gets out of Luke Getsy's scheme, I mean, we saw what happened Monday night. 14 screens. I mean, there are other ways to attack a blitzing defense, a defense that plays, eight guys in the box. There are other ways to attack it. This was Getsy's plan. It's fine in moderation, but it's just ridiculous. There's been too many instances this whole season where we're just like, what's happening? And look, Justin Fields he's not been perfect. He's made some mistakes as well. Obviously, the turnovers, the fumbles, he's had some late game interceptions. But, I just think that he'd be best if he moved on. And I think the Bears are going to want to go on and they're going to want to get their own a brand new quarterback and start fresh. Hopefully, they'll align everybody. The head coach, quarterback, the offense will all be going into year one. I think Ryan Poles might survive, but we'll see what happens.
Do you see any scenario where they look at and they say, okay, well, Flus has really done well with his defense. They're playing hard for him. Maybe we give him another. Well, okay, so let's say they keep Fields for 2 years. Maybe they keep Flus and just throw a new offensive coordinator in. But then, I mean, you're kind of looking at, okay, so let's say the Bears offense does take a step forward next season. You're going to lose that guy to a head coaching job. Do you think that's why they're better off just moving on from Eberflus?
I don't think teams think too much about that far in the future. Like, oh my God, if we're so great, we're going to lose our coordinator. I don't think they really think that far into the future. If it's great, that's great. I mean, that's what you want. You want all your assistants to do so great for you that they're able to move on and get better gigs somewhere else. I don't know, man. I don't trust George McCaskey. I mean, we've seen him screw this up so many times. Is Kevin Warren really in charge? I mean, this is the big question. If he's really the guy in charge, if George McCaskey's hands off and it's Kevin Warren's total show, maybe he wants his own guy. Maybe Poles convinces Warren, hey, I was given a few guys to pick from. Flukes was my best choice of the three. But I'll be honest with you, I want to have a new coach, and I think a new quarterback too as well. I don't know, man. But to go back to your original question, do you think Flukes has done enough? In George McCaskey's eyes, I think he might. Oh man, they've won 4 of their last 8, and they have a bad schedule, right? They're going to close it out. They're going to win. They're going to win a couple games. Oh man, Flus doubled the win total from last year. Let's run it back. I just think it's. I hope it's not it.
Had so much energy and was so excited to see your face and have you on this show, and now all you've done is kick me right in the nuts.
It's George. No one trusts George McCaskey. I mean, I don't know. I have not been a fan of the way he runs things, the whole consultant thing. I mean, you've been in professional football your whole life, and you got to hire consultants to tell you how to do your job. That's just wrong. Like I said, hopefully Kevin Warren's the guy. Hopefully he's got full autonomy to do everything his way. If that's the case, I don't know. It's just,
hot name on the stove is obviously Jim Harbaugh, right? Everybody's talking about him coming. Do you see that as like the lane that they choose, or where do you kind of see this coaching search going if they decided to make that change?
I think Harbaugh's name is in the coaching cycle every couple of years. And I think the latest probably having with the cheating scandal, there's some other stuff going on there. I think he's just trying to put some feelers out again. I don't know. I see Harbaugh probably making a jump, but maybe going to the Raiders, maybe going to San Diego if they make a change. I know he's talked about Chicago's a primo destination for him, but I don't know. I'm not sure. Then there was some rumors. There was some rift between him and Kevin Warren, and they didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things when Kevin Warren ran the Big Ten. I don't know. We'll see. I just think that if you are going to go with the new quarterback, if that's the plan, then you may as well start fresh with a guy like, Ben Johnson. That's the hot name from Detroit, their OC. He's done a lot of good stuff there with that offense. He's a play caller. He's done it, as far as where Getsy was coming in, he never really did it before. The Bears should know if they're going to get a guy that's coming in that's done it before. At least he's got that part. Now, can he be a head coach? Can he be the overseer and run the whole show? No one knows till he gets that chance, but I mean, that's pretty much what all head coaches are. Unless you're a retread, and those guys don't have a good track record either.
Right.
You got to roll the dice with a first time head coach and see what happens.
I mean, if they go the route, let's say Harbaugh's the guy. If Harbaugh's the guy, then Poles has to be out, right? Because Harbaugh's not gonna go somewhere where there's already a GM in place. He's gonna go in and either bring in his own GM or be that role himself. I don't see any way Poles makes that.
Well, and then on that note, Turtle, like, how often have we watched a coach come in and have too much personnel control on the roster and it just doesn't work out, right? Chip Kelly when he was with the Eagles, and that just was a train wreck. I can't think of any head coach that's had that kind of power that's ultimately been successful. Can either of you?
No, I mean, obviously, Bill Belichick for a while, obviously he had a lot of success.
Yeah, but I think Tom Brady had a lot to do with that also.
Yeah.
We don't have Tom Brady, unfortunately,
You're an argument for a different show. I'm just, as far as the coach who had full control, probably him. They say that Kyle Shanahan's got about as much control as you can have without actually being the GM. In San Francisco, him and John Lynch, they're a package deal. It just sucks, man. Can you believe this is where we're at? Like, we did this show going into the season, and we had Lester on, and we talked about all the promise of this season, and Luke Getsy, and a fresh offense, and here we are again praying to whatever football gods still exist up there that we get a new head coach and we get a new offensive coordinator. It just really, really sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I was fooled. I mean, I thought, last year they won 3 games. They sucked last year, but that was an exciting team. They had some moments on offense. I mean, Justin Fields, his peers voted him a top 100 player because he was so exciting with the ball in his hands. And yeah, it wasn't with the passing, it was with the running. But okay, you have a team that can do something well. You're great at running the ball. So what does Luke Getsy do? He goes full Nagy. He tries to do his way. You know what I mean? It's like, why? Do what's worked, build off that, and then, baby steps. It's like he tried to do too much too soon. And, Justin Fields, he may never be that guy. He just may never be. He may always have to be a guy that's a half-field read quarterback and roll him out. But, there's guys that can have a lot of success in the NFL doing that. So, yeah, I was fooled like everyone else. And then the whole with Eberflus, his defense has been balling out, but look how much Ryan Poles has given him. 5 day 2 draft picks,
right?
2 expensive linebackers. He traded for Montez Sweat. He signed Yannick Ngakoue.
Right.
It's like, they put a ton of assets into that defense. He better be doing good. That's why he was brought into Chicago.
Right.
So, if his defense wasn't doing good, I think it'd be a no-brainer. He's definitely gone. But
if we're really breaking it down, the defense against good quarterback play hasn't been great. If you look at the quarterbacks that they've beaten, Sam Howell, Mac Jones, Brian, like these guys are nobodies. Then you go up against a Patrick Mahomes and get 40 put up on you. So maybe that further seals his fate as the end of this season. We'll see him gone. I'm curious on your thoughts on a guy like Jalen Johnson, right? Before the season, he talked a lot about how, he believes himself to be a top corner. He's this guy. But then the last 2 weeks, we've watched him drop to tailor-made pick 6, take it to the house. He's had some interceptions, which is nice, but is this a guy who you think is going to be looking for that max top dollar contract, or do you think they'll be able to talk something out to be able to keep him?
I think they probably should have signed him in the offseason when it wouldn't have been quite as expensive. But now he's got 3 picks. He's Pro Football Focuses, and look, I don't know how you feel about their grades, but that's the teams they pay attention to that kind of stuff. He's their top graded corner. So I mean, he is a good football player. I thought they should have paid him in the offseason. He's just, you got to wait and see what he wants. I mean, I don't think he's going to get elite money. I think he's kind of in the next tier range. Like, he's probably a top 20 corner. I don't think he's a top 5, top 10 corner, but why let him walk? I mean, especially in the situation you have the cap space, and again, we're talking about putting more money to the defensive side of things, which is like, but hey, this is a young guy, your franchise drafted and developed. Pay him. I think he should get paid. I mean, he's a good football player.
That seems to be a thing, though, that this current Bears iteration hasn't done, is the guys that are kind of on that fringe of like they're good but they're not quite great. They seem to always want to move on from these guys instead of lock them down and see what happens. With Roquan, they traded him away. Do you think that they get the deal done with him, or do you think that they just move on and look for somebody in the draft?
I think Poles wants to bring him back, but I think the key is going to be how much Jalen Johnson wants, and if he wants to be here. I mean, he's a West Coast guy. He may want to see if there's a better offer from a team on the West Coast. I mean, he's I believe that's where his child is, in the West Coast, and in the offseason we've seen him. He skipped some time in the summer because he's spending time with his kids. So he's a family guy. He may want to be closer to home. If that's the case, we'll see what happens. But you got to think Ryan Poles wants to sign him. I mean, there was some talks about it. They just never got the numbers done. Who knows how far apart they are? I'm guessing it's pretty far, because otherwise they'd have something done here. That's kind of how it was with the Roquan Smith situation. They're really far apart on contract, and they can never find a middle ground. I think if they were really far apart, I think they would have traded him at the deadline. But the fact that they kept him tells me they're maybe a little closer than they think, and Poles thinks there's something close.
I think they get it done. I think you said it best. Like, if he wants to be here, if Johnson wants to be here, I think they get it done. The thing with Roquan was the Bears weren't ready to win then. When they traded Mac, they weren't ready to win. Like, I know it's hard to think that way, seeing as what we see every week, that they're not far off. But if you think about it, they're not far off. The defense is playing better every week. There's so much invested, like we all talked about. There's so much invested already with that defense. If you look at it, there's not a lot of holes in that starting defense that you have to fix. The offensive line has some things that need to be fixed, but wholesale doesn't need every spot filled like we did before. If you don't draft a quarterback, you're going to fill 2 major holes with 2 top 5 draft picks. If you come away with Marvin Harrison Jr. and whatever else you decide to take, you filled 2 major spots. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is a ginormous upgrade over Darnell Mooney. And then you're talking about whether it's Fashanu at left tackle, whether it's an edge, whether they trade back, maybe trade back twice and get his name slips from the interior lineman from Illinois, Newton. If you get different guys, like, you're going to fill 2 holes for a team that, if you really think about it, doesn't have that many holes, which then brings you full circle to why is the team losing? It has to be the coaching. Like, you look at the team last year, they had nobody on this team last year. You put wholesalely better players on this team, but you're still not winning football games. For me anyway, and again, I'm right there with you, Lester. I just don't know. The McCaskies always scare me that they're going to do the wrong thing. But at some point, enough is enough. Like, you have to feel like there's so much against the coaching staff. How could you ever go into another season with this coaching staff? And I think Poles gets a pass because most GMs get to pick at least 2 coaches.
Yeah.
So I think he'll get at least one more shot at this. And I think he's not going to draft I just don't see him looking at Drake May or Caleb Williams and going, that's the guy that I'm going to put my career on. You've already got that in Justin Fields, and he's already at least just as good as they are, if not better. So Poles will not have the luxury of delaying this team getting better. And I think if you use one of those draft picks on a quarterback, you're saying, well, we're not going to compete next year.
That's fair.
My biggest concern with the go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, my concern is okay, like you said, Turtle, you get a new quarterback in here, and then all of a sudden it's basically restarting. Fields has proven to be the bona fide leader of this locker room, right? And my concern is you move on from him. What kind of message does that send to all these guys in there? I know a lot of them want to win, but you're looking at a guy who is tailor-made to be the face of your franchise. Yeah, he hasn't performed consistently enough, but you've seen those flashes, those games where, 80 yards rushing and a touchdown and 190 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. Like those types of games, Turtle and I talk about it. Like he might not be the guy that wins you these games, but he's not the guy that's going to lose you those games either, unless it's close in the fourth quarter. And then this guy just can't seem to get it done at all in the fourth quarter. But do you think that it would cause a bigger issue simply because of how important Fields seems to be in that locker room right now?
I mean, yeah, it's a good point. I mean, he's well liked by his teammates. Obviously, he is their team captain. He's a leader. You hear the players talk about him all the time in a glowing manner. Even the coaches love him. He's just a great, hardworking kid. I mean, it hasn't all come together. And like you said, I think a lot of it goes back to coaching. This team, I mean, they should have beat the Broncos. They should have beat the Lions. The game plan against the Packers week 1 was atrocious. The early part of this season, there were just so many mistakes by the coaching staff. It's like there's no way they can overcome that. So what I hope happens here, I hope Fields goes on a heater and it just kind of clicks. Things kind of start working for him. He wins despite some coaches. And I know some fans are rooting for losses. They wanted the tanks. They want the tank to happen. I like to see the Bears win some games. I just think I can't see them looking at this coaching staff saying, yeah, this is going to be the staff that takes us to the next level. I mean, it's kind of like a John Fox situation where Fox came in because he had to clean up a mess that was before him. It was an A to B, but Fluke's not your B to C coach. He's just not that guy. I mean, he hasn't lost the locker room, so he's not like a Trestman level. Right. So I don't know. This is what I said. With McCaskey, you never know what he's going to do because, he may just look at this and say, hey, we're better than we were. They're still, we haven't lost the locker room. But then again, I don't want to see them go into the next year. What we saw with Nagy, they kept Nagy a year too long.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they drafted a quarterback for Nagy, and everyone knew Nagy was just a dead man walking. And then, of course, they have Fields in here as a rookie. Now they had to get rid of him. I don't want the same situation happen again. We saw it happen with Mitch. Yeah. They drafted Mitch for John Fox. We knew John Fox was gone. They got rid of him. You got to line it up. If you're going to get a quarterback, you got to line them up with a new coach so that way they're on the same timeline. Otherwise, you're just juggling your assets, and it just doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, if you're a fan of Justin Fields, you want him to go to a different team, right? Because you look at the Bears and you look at when they had Cutler, right? All these different offensive coordinators was never able to just have any kind of consistency. Mitch comes in, same type of thing. You have John Fox, then you bring in Nagy, and it's just not his guy. Then, like you just stated, Nagy picks Fields, and then he's gone the next year. It's kind of wild because let's just say they don't have that number 1 pick. This is a completely different conversation for this draft, right? Because then you're out of the running for those top guys. And I think a lot of it's going to be riding on the contract situation with Justin Fields. He's about to be out of his rookie deal where you can go get a rookie quarterback, reset that clock. You have him for 3 to 4 years without really having to pay him much. And hopefully you get the rest of the team built up around him. I think it's a very Bears situation that they're in. If you look around the league, you don't see this type of situation in winning organizations. It just happens to be like the Browns or the Bears or the Jaguars for the longest time. Right. It's those 3 type of middling franchises. And it's so frustrating as a fan just because you see all these different eras, I guess, of, oh, well, the defense was great, the offense couldn't keep up. And then finally with Cutler, the offense caught up, but then the defense was aging, and then in 18, the defense is good, the offense is not quite there. And then the offense, I just want it to all kind of click at the same time. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like that's going to be a realistic thing here for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's like I said, it all comes down to lining it up. I mean, if you're not in sync, that's where the issues come from. So I think if you're going to make a change at the coaching staff, then I think you've got to make a change at quarterback. And like I said, I'd love to see Justin Fields stay. I'd love to see it work out. But like you said, it's a different question. If the Panthers go on a couple wins here and changes the first draft pick, if the Panthers are one, I think you got to go quarterback. And unless the Bears are like two, and then you can do something where you're trading back. I think the perfect scenario for me would be the Bears to get Marvin Harrison Jr. with one of those top picks, and then trade off of one for another haul for someone wanting to come up and get Williams or May, whoever the top quarterback is at the time, and because that haul will be better than the DJ Moore haul, and now you're setting your franchise up now for another few years, and then you're giving Fields one more go at it. But again, is it with Getsy? That's where I have the problem. I just don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah,
Getsy just seems like such an arrogant dude, right? You listen to his press conferences, it's always like, well, if it worked, it would have went for this many yards. Like, yeah, and if I hit the lottery, I'd be a millionaire. You know what I mean? Like, he to me seems to be the biggest problem in this whole situation. He's just so his unwillingness to adapt the offense to the players is just
it's the Matt Nagy
right.
And I think the hard part is, like, you look at Eberflus, it's like, well, okay, maybe he's not that great of a head coach, but at least the defense is playing well. Like, you can't say, okay, well, Getsy's not a really good play caller, but at least we're scoring points, we're doing this. You can't say that with him. I just think, to get back to what we were talking about the draft, I think there's too many opportunities for them to continue to help themselves. Like, if you have the number one pick, whoever picks 2 or 3, wherever Arizona is or the New England, maybe even the Giants in a wild card, like there's so many teams up there that need quarterbacks that you can move back without moving back like they did last year. Like, I don't want to say lucky because that's what Ryan Poles is paid to do, but Darnell Wright for everything that went into that whole should have been Jalen Carter, should have been this, should have been that. Like, he filled the hole at right tackle, and he seems to have hit a home run. Like, Darnell Wright seems like he's going to be a 10-year franchise tackle. Like, that's what you hope to get there. But you also added DJ Moore and all this stuff. Like, now, if you can move back to 3 or whatever it is, 1 and 2, you got to figure are Caleb Williams and Drake May. In some sort of order, whatever those 2 teams look like, it's those picks. The draft starts after that. So if you can be, like Lester said, just on the other side of that and get yourself Marvin Harrison Jr., but unlike last year, you still have your own pick. So, like, if we could trade back, still get Marvin Harrison Jr., in some miracle add a second-round pick and get Cedric Van Pran, the center out of Georgia, like, now you're setting yourself up, and let's see what Justin does in let's say they take Fashanu. They got Fashanu. You get a center. You get these things, and a real play caller for once in my life as a Bears fan. A real play caller that knows how to move the ball. I mean, you saw the flashes. You saw, like Lester said, there's plenty of teams that have won football games with a running quarterback. Like, It's not the day where you had to have a guy who was going to sit in the pocket and throw the ball 35 times a game, and that's how you were going to win. Like, it's just not where we're at anymore. Let Justin run. Like, we said a couple times, I think it was the Hibernation show, I'm a ginormous Michael Vick fan, so I say this with a grain of salt. Justin Fields might be the best running quarterback this league has ever seen. he's so big and so strong, but fast that when he takes off, 100 yards a game is not out of like. Was it? We just looked at it. He almost broke the record for rushing as a quarterback. Like, and then like you said, we get to this year and they're like, oh, let's not do that.
Yeah.
Well, like why? It works. We're winning. We're scoring that way. Why would you just say, well, that's just not how this offense works? It's working. Like I feel like the most Bears thing is they take something that's working and go, well, we're not going to do that anymore just because.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, this offense should be read options.
Mm-hmm.
It should be RPOs. I mean, that's the sad thing is Getsy comes from a college scheme where it was a lot of RPOs. I mean, what he did with Moorhead is that the coach's name he mentored under? His offense was a lot of RPOs, a lot of running quarterback stuff, a lot of quarterback power. So he saw that firsthand, when he was in college, when he was coaching in college. And so, we go back to Vikings game. Vikings were primed for some RPO stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The way they were playing everyone up tight, it's like, what are you doing? It's the screen is your plan. No, you got other stuff there, but we didn't see very many RPOs. There wasn't a lot of read options. There wasn't a jet sweep. The Bears have run jets all year, and all of a sudden this game, when you got guys condensed, where you get around the edge, that's a good chunk play. We don't see that at all. There were just a lot of problems with what Getsy was doing. So again, it all comes down to what do they want to do? I mean, is it going to be the draft? Are they going to keep Fields? The one thing is for sure, it's a really Bears situation, but it's interesting. It's interesting on a stretch because we got to see how the thing with Carolina plays out. I saw you pull up the comment there. Harrison probably should go over the quarterbacks, but it's a quarterback-driven league. Right. Someone's going to want to get their guy.
Somebody's going to offer a king's ransom to move up.
They're going to want to get their quarterback. So if the Panthers are at 1 and the Bears are at 3, again, I think they're going to go quarterback. But maybe they say, you know what? Let's someone come get number 1 from us. What do you want to come up to get your choice of quarterbacks? And then they kind of sit there at 3, and then they take the receiver when May goes to, because quarterbacks are going to go. It's a quarterback league. If you don't have a quarterback, you got to come get your guy.
So I'm looking at the remaining schedule for the Panthers right now. They play the Buccaneers, the Saints, the Falcons, the Packers, the Jaguars, and then the Bucs again. Those are their final 6 games. So they really might not win another game.
Right?
Unfortunately. Maybe one if you
mean fortunately.
Well, I mean, it depends on your stance on the whole Justin Fields thing, right?
Right.
Because I think the biggest mistake would be for them to take a quarterback. You have this opportunity to get more with that first round pick. I think that's what you need to do is package that out or send that out and get the biggest package you can get for it. Look what they got last year. Imagine that times 2 because of just how good this quarterback class is projected to be. You're looking at 2 potential first round picks, a second round pick. Like there's so much you could potentially get for that pick alone that it's so unfortunate that all this stuff, that one of these things can't just align. Like the coach and quarterback couldn't align, or it's just so frustrating.
Right? Yeah, that's what it is as a Bears fan this whole season. It started out with such promise. I wasn't expecting a championship this year, but I thought they would they would build off what happened a year ago. I thought it was going to happen for sure. I thought Justin Fields would take a step. I thought Getsy would take a step. I mean, he had some issues last year as a play caller, but he found his niche, man. He was a running guy. I mean, that's what they were. And then he just stopped. He went full Nagy. Got too stubborn.
Full Nagy. That's going to be in the dictionary now. Full Nagy, and it's going to be Matt Nagy and Luke Getsy in there together. Jesus.
Well, Lester, we love all the. We could talk Bears with you for 5 hours, end on end, but we've taken up enough of your time. We appreciate you getting on with us, and all the times you've been on, you always a home run, always got great stuff. So
appreciate it. Yeah, anytime, guys.
Yeah, we appreciate it, man. You've always been good to us, so it's always much appreciated.
Nice.
So all right, guys. We'll
You
link
too,
up again
Dustin.
soon. Have a good night.
I'm sure we'll be
Sounds good.
talking to you real soon.
Of course. Take it easy, guys.
See ya.
Man, so listen, real quick. Obviously, we could talk Bears forever. Right? We just
Especially
could.
because of the
And the worst
situation.
part is, it's never really good conversation.
Right.
And like people always accuse me, like, "Oh, you're such a homer for the Bears. You're this, you're that." Like, dog, I shit on the Bears more than most people that hate the Bears shit on the
Right.
Bears. I watch this team every single
Because
week.
it's all so real.
See, right? I
Yeah.
see. Every single week I watch this team. I watch how bad they play. I watch do off the field. I watch the whole summer. We're talking, oh man, this team is going to take a step forward.
Right.
Justin looks great. The DJ Moore connection is on point. All this crazy great stuff. And then you come out week one, you get kicked in the mouth by the Packers. You don't even get to be in that game at all. And it's just a downhill from there. And then coordinators are getting fired and all this shit is happening. And it's just like, man, I wish for once, like I just said, that one thing would line up correctly. You know what I mean? And I think you and I are on the same page in terms of for the Bears, the best thing for the Bears, I personally feel like, is for them to keep Fields for the next 2 seasons.
Keep filling holes. Use those
Right.
draft picks to fill their holes. Like, especially if you can move down to like say 3 or something from 1 and get another first round pick or get a second round pick, get these things like and still get the guys you want. Like, I mean, this team.
I mean, you might even be able to play 2 teams against each other. Be like, hey,
Right.
number 2 pick. Hey, number 3's trying to get up here. And
let's be honest, like the Bears aren't going to win a lot of games either. So the pick is going to be good. Like you could move down twice. They said Ryan Poles had thought about it last year. He wanted to move down from 1 to 2 and then 2 to somewhere else, but it just never aligned. Maybe this is the year. Maybe that happens. They just have to. Like, if I had said we'd be at this point in the year, DJ Moore was looking like he was going to have a career high in receiving yards, you would say, well, Justin Fields is a franchise quarterback. The Bears are competing for a division title, and thank God we're still going to. Like, could you imagine if this team was everything that they could be, and you competing for division, you're doing this. Oh, and by the way, you still have the first overall pick because of Carolina, but you're competing for a division title and all this. Like, but instead, here we are. Fast forward, what is this? 13 weeks. Fast forward 13 weeks, and we're talking about the Bears possibly having the top 2 picks in the draft. Like,
well, that's the problem. I don't think the Bears, their own pick, is going to be great because I see them winning.
I think it'll be in the top 5.
You think so? Because I see them winning 3 more games this year.
How at this?
Because
point?
I think they got this win against the Vikings, and now all of a sudden everybody's like, "Well, hey, at least the division games. Let's make sure that we're out there giving it our all." And I could see a scenario where they accidentally beat the Packers.
Ace, they didn't score a touchdown.
I know.
You
That's
played-
the worst part about the whole scenario.
Listen, you played Josh Dobbs and no Justin Jefferson. You're going to get Minnesota after their bye week. Justin Jefferson's already been activated. Nick Mullins is going to start at quarterback, and he's going to throw the ball to Justin Jefferson 50 times. And do you know what's going to happen? At least 10 of those, Justin Jefferson's going to win.
Well, good. I hope you're right because
at this point, I'm not confident the Bears will beat anybody.
they can't even lose the right way though. That's the problem. They just can't do anything right. Like right now, what they need to do is lose, but they're going to screw that up at some point because that is the Bears thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, this season has all been very Bears-ish.
It seems like I have I can't wait for the day where, we're like, man, quarterback X is just lighting it up. And
all that had to happen was them draft Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, yeah, that'd be nice. I might just buy myself a Patrick Mahomes jersey to cry in every now and then.
Yeah,
just put it on and sit in the shower and cry.
As bad of a coach as he was, even he knew the Mahomes was generational talent.
Yeah, And now look, Mitch is a
up.
backup in Pittsburgh over here, and he's not even playing.
To get Mitch Trubisky. Can I
Not
just
just
say, all you viewers that gave me so much shit for being so anti-Mitch, look at him now.
Well, I mean, no, you're right. I was never really in on Mitch either, but you were definitely the one guy that was for sure not a Mitch guy. And it's wild because you still hear calls like, I listen to ESPN radio all the time.
All the time, and they say, well, maybe it wasn't Mitch.
Right, maybe. No, Mitch isn't.
He's not even winning the job in Pittsburgh.
Right. Against a quarterback who was not playing well.
Play an injured Kenny Pickett,
right,
who sucks as well, than play Mitch.
Man, I'm telling you, he's
no longer Maserati Mitch.
No, he's more of like Toyota Camry, maybe with a bum leg Mitch.
Mitsubishi Mitch?
Mitsubishi. No, they're nice cars too.
I know, that's why I didn't want to use it, but I
remember how much I wanted Louis Riddick for the longest time to be the GM of the Bears. And then all of a sudden he was like Maserati Mitch, and Mitch was terrible. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, never mind. I'm all right.
You remember I wanted, when we were down the dial, I wanted our former cohort to hook us up with Louis Riddick's number so bad.
Yeah.
Because I wanted him on this show more than anything. And now I just want to punch him in the throat every time I hear him talk.
Yeah, it's terrible. Oh, Matt Canada held the entire. Oh, hold on, I'll put it up
Steelers,
here.
And just
we go to all fields here.
I knew I was opening a can of worms when I said something about Mitch in Pittsburgh.
Well, good, but that's what we love here. We love the conversation, right? And oh man, the Bears. All
I can say is at least I have a crumble cookie downstairs to go eat to enjoy this night after so much great Bears talk.
So I mean, and I also want to let everybody know, my new show is almost ready. I got my video in the work. I got the layouts and everything all set. It's going to be Ace's Wild Chicago Sports Takes, and
much a fire logo and everything too.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. And
so happy.
The first topic that I'm going to discuss, I talked about it 2 years ago on Sport Court when Tarbill and I were talking about which Chicago sports teams were in the worst position. And I came out and said the Bulls. This was before all this year has already happened. I am going to get on there and I am going to shred the shit out of the Bulls. Because that organization, we think the Bears are bad. Had it not been for lucking into Michael Jordan, imagine where the Chicago Bulls would be. But I'll save that. That's what we in the biz call a tease. So I'm going to tease that for my first show.
Ounce of my soul not to respond to that.
I know. But I'm going to have you on and we'll discuss this topic because
that's a deal.
I know we enjoy some Bulls talk too. But yeah, man.
You know that I almost made my little tagline that you put under your name. I started typing it. It was hashtag please trade Zach.
Oh, wait, Max Levine? You're talking about my dude, Max Levine, the guy that everybody said the Bulls had to sign or else, oh no, we're going to be terrible if he doesn't sign with us. And they're terrible with him. I don't want to get into the Bulls because I'm going to just rant. And, hey, well, hold on. We got one more question.
What are your
thoughts on Mooney?
He had a bad year last year after having a great year one. But then everyone said he needs attention off of him. Would have a better season this year with more here. See ya, Darnell. Hit the road, buddy.
You can get a Darnell Mooney in the draft anywhere. Period. I think the Bears screwed up by not trading. I think the Bears screwed up by not trading Darnell Mooney at the trade deadline. They could have traded him.
Mooney, do you know who he reminds me of? And this will be my closing thought.
Chase Claypool, without the attitude.
Tariq Cohen.
Yeah.
He's little, but he's not quite fast enough to be dynamic little.
Yeah. He'll make one or two good plays a year.
They said that we were getting Tariq Hill. We did not.
No.
We got closer to Jonah Hill than we did.
All right. Jonah Hill. That's the best line of the night. I'm closing on that. So, everybody, I appreciate all the comments in there. Turtle, it's been awesome to be back with you.
Hey, Jalen Johnson. In case
Yeah,
Ryan
well,
Bowles is listening to this.
Pay Jalen Johnson. I hope so, because I don't want to see him leave, but I don't want to pay him too much money.
I hear you.
But Turtles Take is back. We had a hell of a show tonight. Awesome conversation in the chat. Thank you guys for all tuning in. We're going to be back again next week. I'll be looking for my show, Aces Wild Chicago Sports Takes. We got Out of Hibernation. We got our dude Mike that's going to be jumping on to have a sports betting show. There's a lot of stuff. We still have the wrestling show that we're dabbling with, and my dude's finally got a setup. He got his mic. He got everything all set. So now we're going to jump back into that as well. It's a good time for us. I'm excited. And it was a hell of a show tonight. Turtle, thank you for having me on. I know our dude Tarbill was supposed to sit in.
Feel better, Tarbill. Rest
that
up.
Dude wants to be
better.
Sick. But all right, guys, thank you guys again. We will see you next week. Enjoy the rest of your night.